All right. Welcome, guys. How we doing out there? Welcome to Market Disciple. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video, guys. It would be very much appreciated. So, today, guys, and for the past few days, recently, I've been thinking about the recession, been thinking about all of the negative news, a lot of fear. Just been thinking about a lot of different things pertaining to concerning the economy. Also, been thinking about mobility, economic or financial upward mobility. And when you look around and you see the lack of it, right? Because you hear all this talk about America, um, being the land of honey, right? America being the greatest country in the world, and America is. It's a very, I live here, I grew up here, I was born here. I'm the son of immigrants, right? So America is a great place to live, right? Great place to live. You have a lot of freedoms that you wouldn't have anywhere else in the world, or you have a lot of freedoms that some other countries don't have, right? I'm not here to say that America is the greatest country in the world because I don't know. I haven't lived in every single other country. But America is a nice place to live in. But however, with saying that, um, and the whole idea of social upward mobility, which is a topic that we're going to discuss today, somewhat, right? I may make, I will make other videos on this topic, but I wanted to discuss that social upward mobility is not what it used to be. It's not what it used to be. Does it still exist? Yes. Can you still be born in the projects, be born in the hood, and get out of that environment, get an education, maybe graduate college, right? Get a degree, and work your way into the middle class? That's very, very much possible. Okay. Um, but is it as easy as it used to be? And that's something that we're going to discuss today, the ease of social mobility or the difficulty of social mobility. So, when you look at America and you look at how um, racism, the history of racism, let's say in the 20th century, you look at the way jobs have left this country and have been shipped overseas, right? All that ties into social upward mobility. So, first of all, when we want to look at maybe World War II, let's look at World War II. At the end of World War II, the United States was pretty much the most powerful country in the world, militarily, economically, and also its soft power. Its soft power, its ability to influence other countries without coercion, right? Without coercion, uh, without a big stick, all right? Um, so United States was very much respected after World War II. Um, you had the Bretton Woods Agreement in New Hampshire that that pegged the the American dollar to gold, and all other currencies were pegged to the American dollar, right? And so then the American dollar became the reserve currency of the world. Well, you saw a period of good times here in America. Manufacturing jobs were booming, right? The automobile industry booming, steel booming, um, and many people, coal mines, right? Many men, many families were doing well. Men were able to find jobs out of high school, come out of high school, uh, get a job at the local factory, work their way up, for 4, 5, 6 years, earn more money. This is off a high school degree. Start a family, have a car, have a house, go on a vacation once a year. Their wife would stay home and they'd raise their children, right? This was the America where rugged individualism, right, worked, right? Rugged individualism worked. And hard work paid off because there was an abundance of work. So, one another thing to look at is that these manufacturing jobs, these jobs in factories, automobile industry, steel, coal, yes, they were abundant, but what happened? First, you had unions come in. Whether unions played a role in this, in the shipping of manufacturing jobs overseas, I haven't looked into that, but I do know that unions did play a role because it cuts into the overall profits of a company, right? And so the owners of companies have to look into that, right? They have to look into their profits and where they can increase them. But also, when we look at, when we look at, for example, Detroit, the city of Detroit in the 1950s had the highest per capita income in the United States, the highest per capita income in the United States. Now, today, Detroit is one of the poorest cities in the United States. What happened in a span of from the 1950s to now? Well, the departure of the automobile industry, right? Manufacturing jobs, right? Many of these jobs have left the city and are overseas. So this has led to extreme poverty. This has led to the inability of people to start off in a job out of high school, work hard, and work their way up in a company from maybe, you're on the front line, whatever, in the factory, and then you work up to become a foreman or a manager or VP, whatever. And this is not as easy anymore. It's not as easy. It's not as frequent, right? You don't see this happening as often anymore. So what you have is the disruption of upward mobility in America, and it's getting really, really, really bad. So you see the United States that used to be a country built on, predicated on production. The United States used to produce things. Now we no longer produce. We are in the business of servicing. We provide services. So now that puts an extra emphasis on education, on higher education, right? So you have technology, you you have these fields, right, that require uh, college education. Most of them require a college education. You can no longer leave high school and find an abundance of jobs like you used to. So when we look at the college landscape today, many people are going to college, yes, more than ever before, but there are less opportunities. If you're not looking for a job, or sorry, if you're not looking for a degree in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, you most likely aren't going to make that much money. The money is in STEM. Um, Back in the 50s, 60s, America was very much into rocketry, right? If you watch those old movies, clips, right, those old shows, it's all about the little kid building a rocket, right? Who could build a rocket? Science fairs. right? You don't really see that in America anymore. You don't really see young people with the drive and the enthusiasm in their academics. So America has lost that enthusiasm that it once had. And so we are now seeing America in a decline culturally. And this is very significant because many academics, many have written books on the rise and fall of great powers, the rise and fall of civilizations, right? And I, by no way, am an academic. I'm just talking to you guys. I do a little bit of research, and then I have something to share. That's all. But Ray Dalio has written on this recently. Paul Kennedy has written on this, and that we see every nation has its time, his rise. Every civilization has its rise and it has its fall. Now, I'm not saying the United States is going to fall like some of the civilizations of the past, right? Like ancient Greece. Where is ancient Greece? Doesn't exist, right? That civilization doesn't exist anymore. Egypt, ancient Rome, Babylon, right? These civilizations don't exist. I don't see that. I don't think anyone is saying that about the United States. But what seems to be is that we're no longer seeing, right? We're starting to see that the United States doesn't have as much, one, soft power, right? Its soft power is limited, meaning its ability to influence without coercion, right? Soft power. Excuse me. Also, sorry, did I just burp in the microphone? I apologize. Um, also, we have the United States and its people, us. We are becoming war fatigued. We're tired of seeing these endless wars. So the United States cannot carry a big stick, right, to force people or nations to comply and do what they want, right? And the United States is losing its soft power, its ability to get what it wants without force, with being, um, like kind of like being charismatic and being influential. The United States is also losing that as well. So where do we go from here? It's a question that has to be answered. But the American dream is not what it once was. Can we? Does that mean it's all doom and gloom from here? No. It just means that it's getting harder. It is definitely getting harder to move up socially. And usually, when we have economic advantage, when someone has an economic advantage, that's usually because that wealth that they have has been passed down from their parents, from generation to generation. So, for example, a kid that's 25 years old, it could be that half of his wealth has come from his father or his parents. All right. And very few people, with all this talk about social upward mobility in the United States and achieving the American dream, and that's possible. Yes, it is. But very few, very few children that are raised in the lower portions of the income distribution, right? Let's just say the bottom 20%, right? Maybe half of those children, right? I'm sorry, not half. Maybe 1/10 of those children, 10% of those children are able to move up out of their income. Okay, so it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. As I'm reading here, let me read this stat. In the US, 8% of children raised in the bottom 20% of the income distribution are able to climb to the top 20% as adults. Okay. I couldn't remember the stat, but here it is. I'm reading it right here. So that just tells you, it shows us how difficult it is. So I'm going to stop right here, guys. You guys tell me what you think about what was discussed here about social upward mobility. Uh, my thinking is that it's not what it used to be, and it's getting more and more difficult for Americans to climb up out of their situation, out of poverty, and into the middle class. And as we all know, as we've been hearing for a long time, that the middle class is shrinking. The middle class is shrinking, and the separation between the upper 20 and the upper 20 and lower 20 is growing, right? The middle class is shrinking, and the distance between the upper 20 and the lower 20 is what? It's growing. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll talk again on this topic another time. Peace.